British-Iranian aid worker Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe has been sentenced to another year in jail by an Iranian court. Zaghari-Ratcliffe had been released from prison in March after serving 5 years on charges of plotting against the government. Well, her latest jail term comes from a new charge of spreading propaganda against Iran. She and her family have always denied the allegations against her. Well, Paul Brennan is live in London, joins us from outside the Iranian embassy. Paul, what's happening with these latest charges? She's been accused of plotting against Iran, presumably from inside a prison cell. What's going on?
Well, no, it's the reason why we're here is because it's here that Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe's alleged offence is supposed to have taken place. 2009, in anti-government protests here outside the Iranian embassy, Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe participated in protests and gave an interview to BBC Persian. And now, 12 years on, the Iranians have decided to prosecute her for this, despite the fact that she's already gone through the system for the other charges, which she denied. She denies these charges as well. But on March the 14th, in a 20-minute hearing behind closed doors, they tried her for this offence and have now decided that she will be sentenced to another year in prison. I have to say that she's not been ordered back to jail yet, so technically she's not behind bars. But the other aspect of it is that she's not allowed to leave Iran for another year. Her lawyer has said that they will be appealing against this verdict. A timescale for that legal process hasn't been yet laid out. But from here at the Iranian embassy, I knocked on the door just before we came on air, and I've submitted an email with a request for a statement from them, but no statement has yet been forthcoming from the embassy here.
So what's this really about then, Paul? Because Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe's husband is very high profile in his campaign to get his wife released and to bring her back home, essentially. Has there been any reaction from him? Does he think this is about a protest that took place on British soil, or is there something else to this?
Yeah, there's been plenty of reaction, and there's a lot of conjecture and suspicion as to exactly what is behind all of this. Let's go to the reaction, first of all, of Richard Ratcliffe. And he has said that he believes that she's being used as a negotiating tactic by the Iranian authorities. And he clarified that she hadn't yet been summoned back to actual prison. The British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has said, I don't think that it's right at all that she should be sentenced to more time in jail. It's wrong that she was there in the first place. And he said they're working very hard to secure her release, working with our American friends, as he described them, as well. And Dominic Raab, who is the British Foreign Secretary, said it was totally inhumane and totally unjustified, this decision by the Iranian court. We continue to call on Iran to release Nazanin immediately. Now, as far as the why she is there, well, there are several different stories. First of all, that it's related to an arms deal debt of around £400 million. An order for chieftain tanks that was made by the previous Shah of Iran, and those tanks were never delivered by Britain. Iran wanting at least their money back. Britain, the British government, has explicitly admitted that there is a debt that really does need to be paid. The question is how to pay it. There are sanctions, for example, that prevent money being sent in such overt way to Iran, and the British and Iranians haven't yet found a way to have that debt resolved without falling foul of those sanctions. The other aspect is, of course, just the general state of tension and diplomatic issues that there are between the West and Iran as regards sanctions, as regards the nuclear deal, as regards many, many different things.
OK, Paul Brennan there, live for us outside the Iranian embassy in London. Thank you, Paul.